Nico and Lewis. That was my first
Yeah.
ever memory of Formula One. Like that race was, I remember it on in the house, and I remember everyone watching, and I knew nothing about it then.
Yeah, everyone going
I
mental.
was,
What a great rivalry that was, hey? What a
yeah,
great
I
way
was
to
just
get into the
watching,
sport.
really, really confused why my dad was so angry and wanted Lewis Hamilton to win because I didn't know what was going on. Because I only knew Sebastian Vettel at that point.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, but yeah, that's my earliest ever memory.
And then you understood why he was getting so angry.
Yeah, and then once I started getting into it, sort of that next season, I started watching it, and then sort
Yep.
of going, probably like 2016, then I fully got into it with like
Yep.
Verstappen. That's when I sort of that was my
Nice.
first.
Nice.
Yeah, I got into Verstappen and then just carried on watching it.
So yeah, you're a Verstappen fan, right? I think I saw from the quiz as well.
Yeah,
How come?
yeah,
What's the reason? Just kind of resonated with him being a young driver, was that it? Or
yeah. I think so. At first, yeah, he probably was a young driver, and I saw how well he did. And then there was a few like I started watching the press conferences. Then and I started really getting into it, and
yeah,
then watching the press conferences and saw some of his press conferences. I was
nice.
like, oh, I quite like this one. It's just sort of stuck with Red Bull from day one, and with Verstappen, it's sort of just been a
Okay, cool.
I've never really given up on them. Yeah.
Cool. So it's been a good couple years recently for you then, as a Verstappen fan.
Yeah, I've sort of waited, not my whole life, but my whole racing life for that.
It's
And when it
finally
happened,
come.
yeah, I was like, finally, we've got 2 in a row now.
Must have been tough in the Hamilton days.
Yeah, I enjoyed it though because I still think that Hamilton's the best driver on the grid. I'll give him that. But there was always a part of me that was like, come on.
Okay. Yeah.
Happened.
It's all part of the journey though. Now you've made it. It's like, how far can he go?
Yeah, now
it makes
it
more exciting when they're like chasing the top. If you see what I mean.
Yeah, sort of now he's got his 2 championships. I'm like, okay, now I can sit back and let Lewis win his 8th, and I can be really happy about that.
There you go. That's a good way to look at it. It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
And the first ever race you watched, was that the first race in 2014, or was that?
Yeah, that'll have been the first one that I ever remember watching. There was probably other ones on in, around the house that I just probably didn't sit down and watch. And I also remember Brazil. I always forget if it's 2016 or 2017, but the one with Verstappen when he had that slide nearly into the wall. I think it was 2016.
Yes, I remember in the wet, right?
Yeah, I vividly remember that as well.
That was insane. That was when he made a proper name for himself for that race.
Yeah, that's one I vividly remember in like my watching racing.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you into F1 would you say? Are you literally like obsessed with it, like 9, 10 out of 10, or are you like just a little bit, 6, 7?
10 out of 10.
Perfect. That's the answer I'm looking for. Good stuff. You're in the right place. Now, in terms of Formula One itself, is there anything you'd like to see the sport bring in? Anything you'd like to see them change? Or anything you think they need to do from your perspective?
I think from someone who last year managed to go to 2 races, I managed to go to Silverstone, which that one was very last minute and it didn't cost me a lot of money for what I got for the weekend. I bought it the night before and I was like, okay, I've got a really good ticket for, I think it was like £500.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, but then I think as a fan watching it, a bit more accessible pricing. I think that would be my main thing that I'd like to see. Because I went to Monza last year. That one was
steep.
Very steep actually. I went with my best friend and her mum, and it was that was.
I think you're spot on. I think the prices are, for want of a better word, ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the prices of everything though, like not even just going to the sport. I think when you get there, buying merch. I can't remember how much it was that I spent on a cap. I bought the max cap. I think it was £60. I spent on the max cap in the track.
I remember.
Wanted it.
Yeah,
£60.
It's crazy, isn't it? Captive market, I suppose. They got to do what they got to do, but you're right. It's way too expensive. When I was at Silverstone as well on the Saturday and it was raining, it was like I'm getting wet, so I need to keep myself dry. So an umbrella, £80. Am I going to pay that? No. You know what I mean?
think we got lucky at Monza, so it was meant to rain the whole weekend. Obviously, we didn't plan for rain. You're in Italy in September. I was like, it's beautiful. It's not like I was like, oh my god, it's meant to rain, and I was like, I'm just getting wet because I'm not paying for a poncho at the track.
Yeah. How much was a poncho?
I want to say a poncho was because it was in euros. I'm trying to put probably around 45.
Oh my god, that is mental.
I didn't buy one because we didn't need it in the end. Luckily.
Yeah, luckily, thank God.
But and I think the issue with obviously the British, like the British Grand Prix in itself, it was really well managed, and that was the thing I really like about Silverstone, like how the management is. But from going to Monza and seeing what that was like and how awfully managed it was, and how it was probably the most stressful 4 days of my life.
See, that's not what you want. I've heard quite a few of the European races are poorly managed like that. I've heard Spain's quite bad as well.
Yeah. I've heard that one. We were quite lucky because we did have hospitality, so we were like, okay, well, at least we've got that. But when you go to the grandstand for the main race, there was no organisation, there was nothing. I sat in a different grandstand to where my ticket was, and no one cared.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they didn't even check my grandstand pass. Just walked into a random grandstand with my friend and her mum to, go round. No one stopped me. So
Jesus.
yeah,
well, I don't know if that's F1 or just the lax mentality of the Europeans. It's probably a bit of both.
Yeah, that's what we thought. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. That's the prices of F1.
But yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a very good point. And then moving on, is there something about Formula One that obviously you've got a great understanding of the sport, but is there something you've seen happen that's like, you know why it happened, but you're like, why did that happen? Do you know what I mean? It's like a bit of a head turner. Is there anything like that you need an explanation for or don't understand?
I think the only thing that ever gets me is still as a Max fan, the only thing that ever still gets me that I don't understand why it ever happened is what happened in Abu Dhabi 2021, and that's coming from a Max fan.
Yeah, it's that was mental, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is coming from the biggest Max fan you can possibly find.
Yeah.
And I was happy that he won that championship, but when it happened, I was like, how is he
I think
there?
I think everyone was kind of a bit surprised by that. Obviously, there's a certain section of Max fans who, obviously, you can't blame them. Are like, yeah, perfect, don't care.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the large majority of people, it's like, what the happened? Because I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes F1 have made in decades, I think.
So I thought red flag it, new tyres, 6-lap race.
There you go.
The end.
Yeah.
And then I was like, perfect, that's how it's going to go. And then the car's still going round, and I was sort of sat watching it. I was like, okay, this isn't right.
Yeah, I remember watching it. I was in France because I was on one of my uni ski trips, so I had to watch it on my phone, and I couldn't find. Obviously, in France, you can't get Sky Sports or anything like that. Yeah. So I was literally panicking for like an hour for I'm not missing this title decider. So I was literally walking around the town for like an hour trying to find a bar or like a pub to watch it.
Yeah.
Somehow I managed to find a VPN on my phone where I could watch Channel 4 coverage. So it wasn't great, but got there in the end. I remember watching it towards the end when Latifi crashed, and I was like, there was something telling me it was like, Verstappen's going to win this now.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I just thought, you know what, Hamilton's lost this.
I was in London when that happened, and I was sat in Wagamama was watching it because I'd just been at my work's Christmas party, and I was sat for the whole, most of the race thinking, oh my God, Hamilton's lost. Like, Hamilton's won, sorry. I was like, great, amazing for him, shit for me. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, okay, he's going to win it.
Yeah, I know.
I remember walking around London after it to get my train home, and that's all anyone was talking about. Like, I walked past groups of people, and everyone was talking about it, and I was like, everyone was slating Max, and I was like, guys.
That's what I love to hear. I think the great thing, even though the way it played out, but the great thing about that was it genuinely, for the first time in, I don't know, probably decades, if not ever, had the world captivated. Formula One had the world captivated.
Everyone in work, when I got into work on the Monday, obviously everyone in work knew I was a Max fan because I said if he won, I'd wear the Max top into work, so I had to wear my Max top.
Got to stay true to your word.
Well, everyone was like, yeah, I watched it. Like, I actually gave it a watch, and I don't understand what happened. And I was like, guys, please don't even ask me, because I don't know what happened.
Nobody knows what happens. Nobody's going to be able to explain that, even now.
Yeah. Everyone was asking me, and I was like, I honestly don't know what happened. It was wrong, but Max won, so great, cheers.
I mean, yeah, it works out well for the Verstappen fans, but for the Hamilton fans, they're going to be 10 times more angry at the sport.
Yeah, and especially when it's like, I'm like split in the middle. I was like, I want Hamilton to get his 8.
Yeah. Little conflict of interest. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Did you lose any interest in Formula One afterwards? Did your opinion of the sport go down at all? Because obviously, for some people, they were like, "Oh, watching it anymore." And then obviously came back in the end. But was there a period of time like that for you?
Yeah, there was the time probably. Yeah, it actually was. Like, it's weird to think back that season because obviously I was like, I'm boycotting it. I was like, I'm not doing it. Like, it's complete bullshit what they've done. I was like, that isn't right. Obviously, as the Max fan inside me, though, was like, yes, he's got his first. Yeah. There was a part of me for like the winter break where I was like, I don't know if I want to watch it again next season because it just seems like a farce. And then obviously, I saw a bit of testing, and I was like, oh God.
Everyone's obviously going to come back in the end.
I was like, oh, the test. I was like, oh, I have to watch it. And then obviously I ended up at races last season, so I was like, oh, well.
See, it's
got to watch it.
Even to this day, every time I see my barber, he likes F1 a bit, but every time I see him, he's always like, Ollie, what happened in Abu Dhabi? This is crazy. I never watch F1 again because of this. I'm like, wow, that's actually had an impact on a certain few people who aren't necessarily that devoted to F1. They've just kind of got a base level interest in it, and they don't watch F1 anymore because of what happened.
Well, then on the other side, like my mum wasn't really into F1. She just had to watch it because everyone in the house did. But after that, she was like, I actually might start watching it a bit more now, which was weird to me.
Swings and roundabouts, I suppose.
And she wanted to, get into it a bit more. Now she's into it and comes to random races with us. So
I think the main problem of that was it just came from them wanting to make it a show basically. They put entertainment first, and that was the main problem.
It was quite good to watch.
I think it was good to watch, but I think they've made the mistake now, and it won't happen again.
Yeah, hopefully it won't happen again anyway. I'd like to think that, because even in Japan this year when Max won his second one out, I was still very confused at that.
Oh yeah, that was as well. That was bad as well. That was not the way you want to win your second title.
Yeah, obviously, it's been like that red flag for however long, everyone's fallen asleep and I woke back up and I was like, how is he champion now?
Yeah, I know.
He couldn't win it, and now he's champion. I was like, okay, he's champion, that's fine.
Champion, yeah, we'll take it, but not the way we would want to again. So moving on, I've got a big question for you, Lily. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, for 2023, with your heart and with your head, who's going to win the title?
I want to say Verstappen because I want a third championship from Verstappen.
Yep.
I really want to say Verstappen. That's where everything's telling me. But I have a weird, sneaky feeling that we're going to see Charles Leclerc.
Oh, really?
I don't know why. I don't know what's giving me that.
Okay.
Last season I did say Carlos Sainz, and that didn't go well at all.
You said Carlos Sainz? That's brave.
Yeah.
That's very brave.
I was trying to make a bold TikTok, and I was like, Carlos. Yeah. Didn't go well. But now, I'm going to say Verstappen's what I really want. Like, I really want a third one in a row. Like, I just want that. I want him to do, the 7 and get 4 in a row.
Yeah.
But I've got a feeling, because obviously Mercedes have already had their issues.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them at the moment. But it's still early to tell, as always. But it is looking tricky for them again. I always said
I'm not down, because I was like, if I was down in Northampton, I'd go to Silverstone now and go and see, watch the test days. We tried to go on last Saturday to see Hass's, and we missed it by 20 minutes.
Oh, really? What, can you just go to Silverstone, rock up and just...
Yeah, so you can't actually go into the track, obviously, but you can just sort of park. We have me and my best friend have a little parking spot, and you can see the track and the podium bit of the track.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's pretty deep because you can see all the test days.
For, that's actually really calm.
So we do that most weekends just to go and see what we can see at the track.
Oh, that's cool.
Obviously now moving down there means I can go and see, some of the shakedowns, some of the filming days. But yeah, I think Charles Leclerc is who I think.
Okay. See, I said that last season, and then had to eat my words about halfway through. But we will see. Sorry?
I hedged my bets with Verstappen and Leclerc. I put, the two.
Yeah, the two most likely in tandem there. Yeah, it's good. Do you think Leclerc's ready to win a championship? Because a lot of people say he's not. Do you think he's going to be the finished article, a step above in 2023?
I didn't think he was ready, and I know it sounds really weird, but obviously I've seen his relationships ended, everything like that, and I think he's ready now. I think he's put everything into it on the winter break. I think he's put everything into winning, being able to win a championship.
Yep.
Cleared his head, got rid of baggage, got rid of girlfriends, things like that. And I think he's ready this season.
You might be right. Right. We'll have to wait and see.
I know it sounds bad. He's had to leave his girlfriend to get a championship.
Sometimes you've got to do it, right?
Yeah, your career comes first.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying now. I'm leaving my whole house in Manchester for a career, so.
There we go. How far is Northampton from Manchester? What, a couple hours?
Yeah, so it'll be like a 2.5-hour drive on Sunday, and then we'll have to come back obviously every few weekends to get things to live down there.
How do you feel about moving down, about moving out? Excited or nervous, or both?
Well, I think because it's happened so fast. It's literally today, I've been told, and I've got to be there Monday morning at 9 a.m.
Really?
I don't really have time to be worried.
So you move... Oh, so you leaving tomorrow or Sunday or something? Or
Sunday, I'm leaving Sunday night. Sunday midday, I'm going to move down and move everything down with me Sunday. And then be out.
Wow, that's exciting times. Yeah. Like I said, good for you.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have any unpopular opinions? If you don't, I've got a few I can put in front of you. Do you have any off the top of your head?
I'm trying to think. I've probably got a lot. I think a big unpopular one last season is everyone would say Max was the best on the grid. And as a Max fan, I was like, I can't say he's the best on the grid.
Still think it's Hamilton?
Yeah, I still think it's Hamilton. I think it will always be Hamilton. I also think but I also think that last season George was better than Hamilton.
Really?
But I think as an all-round driver, Hamilton's the best.
Yeah, I think 2023 is going to be the make or break year for that kind of test between Hamilton and Russell.
Yeah, but I think last season Russell was a lot better than Hamilton.
Really?
And I think I always thought it was me better than him, but I do think Hamilton's a better all-round driver. Obviously, he's got championships. You can't take that away from him.
See, I thought Hamilton was just about better than Russell. I mean, Russell at times was stronger, but I think there was a large portion of the season where Hamilton was blatantly faster. That's my take on it.
I think it was personally because, from my point of view, obviously Russell came from such a team, and he came from something where he he wasn't performing. He barely struggled to get points, things like that.
Yeah.
And then he came to sort of a top performing team. And I think I saw the difference between the two Russells in a way.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing him win like his F2 title or GP2, whatever it was back in the day.
Mm.
And I was like, this kid's gonna go far.
Yeah.
And he has gone far now. Like, I'm
he has.
quite happy with
He's doing very well. I think he is. What's your take on the Russell v Norris argument? Who's clear in that sense for you?
I always thought it was Norris. I always thought it was Norris. Like, always. But then last season, I think it's Russell now.
Yeah. It's I can't always change my mind on this. I always thought it was Russell, but then there's a time where I'm like, shit, Norris is getting so much from that McLaren. I'm like, could it be Norris? Because we won't know until he's in a top car, I don't think.
Yeah, but I also think next season, like, this is probably going to be a really unpopular one, but I think Piastri is going to be better than Norris.
Ooh.
And I think it's just because...
That's not out the question. You're right.
Yeah, I just think he's such a good all-round driver in general. Like, everything he's done is, like, in his lower series. Like, I've watched him since, like, back in his Italian F4 days and back then. And I think he's just such a well-rounded driver. I can see him being better than...
Yeah.
Sorry, I was better than Norris. There we go.
That's going to be a head-turner if Piastri beats Norris. That'll upset a few people, I think.
I kind of want him to, but I don't know why. I kind of want him to beat him a tiny little bit.
I know what you mean. It would be... it would cause some controversy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and it would cause a bit of, middle finger to Alpine, and I'm not really an Alpine fan at all. Like, I hate Alpine with a passion.
Wait, why? What have they ever done to you?
It's a very long story, but I have sort of an ex-boyfriend who is an Alpine.
Right.
So I've got a big hatred towards Alpine.
Okay, now. I see. That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Just because whenever I see Alpine, he's a junior driver or whatever it is.
Right.
So I always see him as a junior driver in the Alpine pictures, and I'm like,
okay, right.
I hate it.
Okay.
So that's why I could never have supported Piastri if he went into Alpine.
That makes sense. And now you can support him, and you can.
I can support him. I love him. Like, he's amazing.
And you can get the middle finger to Alpine like he can now.
Yeah, because I just really like. Apart from Pierre Gasly being Alpine, that sort of swung me a bit. I'm like, oh.
That helps.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to support him a little bit.
Right. So I got 2 unpopular opinions for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Monaco should not be on the calendar anymore.
50-50 because I want to go to it. Once I've been to it, it can go off the calendar. And it's fine to go. I think it's a boring race, but I think it's just so historic. It's like Silverstone, like, it's so historic.
It's so historic, and it's Monaco. It should never leave, I don't think.
Well, it is boring.
It is, but it's still Monaco, so I can...
There's a lot of controversy in that race.
Sorry?
There's a lot of controversy at Monaco. We had the Sergio Perez controversy.
You get a lot of things like that, that's right.
The repeating Michael Schumacher from whatever year it was.
There
I'm
you
thinking,
go.
we've got that.
And Rosberg. So I think there's enough... I think Monaco provides the F1 calendar more than enough value to stay on.
Yeah, and I think it's because qualifying's so topsy-turvy as well, because even if the second is the fastest on that weekend, there's a chance you won't get pole because it's Monaco and you struggle to do a fast lap. So I think that's what makes it exciting as well, because the drivers who you'd expect to win or expect to get pole might not actually do it.
That's right. Yeah,
so I do like that. It does make it a little bit interesting.
It does. It's a fantastic weekend, and obviously, you're right, you hit a nail on the head. Once you go, then your opinion might change, because you've ticked it off. You've ticked it off.
Yeah,
right?
That's one that I really want to do, but again, that one's very pricey.
Extremely, to say the least. Right, next one. George Russell is the most overrated driver on the grid.
I think I can kind of see that one.
Mm-hmm.
Even though last season I think he did better than Hamilton personally, I can see the way people hype, even in the Williams, people hyped that man up.
They did.
But another level, there's no need to hype him up like that.
But to the same extent, I think the hype is justified, because I think he is that good.
Yeah, I think there is a slight bit of him that could be a bit overrated, but I do think he did better than Hamilton, so I don't know if I can say he's overrated.
There we go, yeah. It's like a bit contradictory. I have to see in 2023 what he does.
Yeah, I have to see what he does.
It will be, I think I said this a while ago, it will be very telling if Russell is better than Hamilton next season, because that tells us that A, Russell's getting better, he's not peaked yet, and it tells us B, Hamilton might be losing a little bit, losing his zip.
I think Hamilton, a little bit, might be, I don't want to say it because I do want Hamilton to win an 8, but I think he could be losing, not his passion, but, his sort of motivation. And sort of like, he's getting a bit older now as well.
Yeah, do you think that stems from his age, or the fact he's not in a winning car, or
I think
off
his
track?
mindset is winning, because he's never not been in a winning car, really.
Like,
his whole career, he's always been in the best car. And I think last season, what was going on, I think it sort of affected his headspace a little bit.
You might be right. That's an interesting take. That could be true. Yeah, like I said it before, I'll say it again. 2023, we've got a lot to learn. But
Yeah,
all
we'll
these
see a lot in
drivers,
this.
all these dynamics, it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
So, from this call, obviously I know you've got... Actually, let's talk about your TikTok for a minute. So you've got, what, almost 20k?
Yeah.
Is there a specific goal or aim with the content, or is it just like a bit of fun? Just...
So it started out in lockdown as just like fun. I was just doing like random F1 videos,
Yeah.
and then it started to do really well. Like my videos, I think one of them blew up like about Ferrari. It was one of my first ever F1 videos, and it blew up to like about 50k, and I was like, what has happened? Like this is not what I expected.
Easily done, eh?
And then and then it started going. So I do think that I sort of want to get. I want to get something out of it, like work like with my TikTok, but I think it's just so hard to grow on TikTok at the moment. It's
Absolutely.
the most
right now it's hard, yeah.
Yeah, it's like so impossible. You can do a random video and it'll blow up and get 300k, and you can do like one that you spend hours on it, we can get 300 views. So it's like
it's always the ones you don't expect that do well.
Yeah, it's the ones that you just throw out with no thought that do well. But yeah, I think obviously once you sort of get somewhere with that, even if it's just sort of not noticed, but noticed in a way.
Yeah,
like,
I got you. Make a little name for yourself. Sort of
thing. So just so people know, because at the moment my content used to just be about like my ex-boyfriend and slating him because everyone knew who he was, and sort of people do just comment that on my TikToks now, and I want to sort of get away from people knowing me as that.
Okay, a little shift in the brand of Lily Morris.
Yeah, like I'm not just I want people to know me as that sort of the girl who likes race, not just the girl who dates racing drivers.
Well, hopefully this call can help with that. Hopefully we can help shift that momentum in the right direction.
Yeah.
Are you happy for any of this to be posted? Is there any part you want to blip out, or?
No, I'm happy for most of this to go, obviously.
Perfect.
Yeah, everything that's going on here, everyone knows about.
I think we can get at least 4 or 5 videos from this call.
Yeah.
There's some very good opinions, very good content in here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to post any of it on your TikTok?
Probably, yeah. So what I'll probably do is stitch it and do it that way.
Perfect.
That'll probably be the way for me to just stitch it or duet it. I don't really know how stitching and duet works. I'm not really down with the kids and all that stuff.
It's simple enough. It's simple enough.
Do something, and that'll probably be the easiest way for me to do it. So yeah, I'll probably do that with it.
Okay.
Just sort of get my content flowing again, because it's hard in the
season. Cool. Well, let's kickstart it with some of these videos, eh?
Yeah.
Let's do it.